Jackson. If you put the questions in the chat, I may or may not see them. I'll try, but I can't look at two screens at once. So, but if you put your, I'm gonna look at one spot. That's gonna be in the Q&A section within this Zoom webinar, and also to anybody listening outside of the Zoom, you should just know if you want to send me a question to answer, I will answer it in the inside the Zoom, which you can join at boycewatkins.com. Let's see. Now, someone said, "Will the conference be live?" I don't know if Dr. Frazier is doing the Power Networking Conference via live stream, but I do think that the conference is very important because networking is really important in terms of learning how to connect with other people and trust other people. And just realizing that you have people in your community that are doing amazing things. You know, you have people in your community. I met a guy today who told me his name was Paris, and he told me that he developed a whole platform where they were buying real estate using artificial intelligence, and he was making tens of millions of dollars, doing tens of millions of dollars in transactions on this artificial intelligence real estate platform and shortening the amount of time it takes to do real estate deals. And he seemed like a really smart brother, like almost like a computer geek in a kind of way. But I say geek in a good way because I was geekish too, and I was really impressed. So you'd be amazed at how many people in your community are just doing the most amazing things. Now, how many of you? I don't know how many of you are going to the All Black National Convention. Give me a yes if you're going to the All Black National Convention or if you're thinking about it. The All Black National Convention is going to happen October 28th through the 30th in Charlotte, North Carolina. And in fact, what I'll do is I'll actually share my screen. Maybe that's a good place to kind of start a conversation today, because the convention that's our flagship event within the Black Business School. That is what we that is the event. It's not actually just a Black Business School event though. It's sponsored by a lot of different people from the community. There's a lot of interesting things happening there. And I can't share my screen, but if you remember last year, it was a lot of fun. We had Victory Boyd and her family performed at the convention, and it was extraordinary, and just an amazing event. And so this year we have a long list of experts and panelists from all walks of life, business strategy experts. We have lots of people from the spaces of politics, entertainment, relationships, the real estate millionaires and billionaires. The former CEO of the Air Jordan brand, Larry Miller, is going to join us this year. Larry Miller is the guy who is responsible for taking Michael Jordan's company from 300 million a year to 3 billion a year, or two. I think it's about 3 billion. And so they became so big that they actually were able to compete with Nike. So it's kind of a big deal. This is going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina, October 28th. If you'd like to learn more, just go to boycewatkins.com. We're also going to have speed dating for those of you that are looking to meet somebody nice, somebody that's B1 and intelligent. If you're tired of dating idiots, this is a good place to meet somebody nice. Also, we're going to have all kinds of events focus on business and things like business and investing in crypto. We're going to have things related to health, politics, relationships, all kinds of stuff. Just a lot of really good stuff, a lot of really good people. And if you haven't been to the convention before, you're going to love it. If you have kids, we have a children's track where the children will be learning their own curriculum during the convention. So even your kids are going to be smarter. Bring your dog. Your dog will be smarter by the time the convention's over too. We don't have a dog education program though, but still, I mean, the idea is that the energy is really, really good, and I think you're really going to love it. Now let's see here. Questions. Let's see. Suggestions how one should begin investing for retirement at age 55. Well, if you are 55, then that's a very late time to start investing for retirement. Retirement should be something you start investing for when you're like 20, less than 25 years old. A lot of people wait until they get to their 30s and 40s, and it is absolutely insane to wait to past the age of 35 or 40 because you don't have enough time. You know, it's like if somebody says, drive to California, and let's say you've got a month to get there. Well, that's easy. But let's say you wait and you've only got a day and a half. Well, now you got to drive 200 miles an hour or 150 miles an hour. You still might not make it on time, right? It's going to be a very uncomfortable drive. So the idea with retirement is you want to start early. Now, if you want to retire at 55 and you're young, then that's easy to do. Just go. They have financial calculators that your investment advisor would have access to. They can tell you how much you can invest. Or another benchmark might be the $5 a day investing plan. If you go to boycewatkins.com, you can find it there. The $5 day investing plan is a free ebook that you guys can have. You can buy it on Amazon if you want a hard copy, but if you just want the free e-copy, just go to boycewatkins.com. It's right there. And the $5 day investing plan shows you mathematically that if you invest $5 a day, within 10 years, if you just randomly put it in different stocks, you don't even have to pick your stocks. You don't have to know anything about the stock market except how to download the Acorns app and put $5 a day in, which is something I can show you how to do in about 3 minutes. And literally after 10 years, you have approximately $29,000. After 20 years, you have about $102,000. After 30 years, you have about $250,000. So if you do $10 a day, then that becomes $500,000. If you're doing $15 a day, that becomes $750,000. If you do $20 a day, that becomes a whole million. So $20 a day, a lot of people, that's $600 a month. There are people who spend more than $600 a month on their car note. There are people that give away 3 times that amount for rent to a landlord, which is they flush that much down the toilet. So ultimately, just understand that there is a ton of resources that you have at your disposal. And the key idea is having some percentage of those resources going toward long-term economic benefit. Will Dr. Anderson be joining us next week, Jeanette? Well, he wasn't feeling well this week. I'm hoping he feels better next week. And that's all I can say on that. So Dr. Anderson is going to try to join us. I know he wanted to try tonight. He couldn't make it, but today I wanted to just do a Q&A and answer a lot of your questions for today. Let's see here. William says, it was good seeing you in Detroit, Dr. Watkins. Yeah, it's good seeing you too, William. Yeah, I was in Detroit for Herb Strather, who's a multimillionaire real estate guy who's done over $1 billion in real estate deals. He had an event in Detroit last week, the Black Wealth Builders Summit. It was really awesome. And I'm going to tell you, when you get into the rooms and get around people that are doing things like this, and anybody could have walked in that room. It wasn't free, but anybody could walk in that room, and just being in spaces like that shows you how much money there is out there. There was a guy on the stage who started off with pretty much nothing. And I think it sounded like he was running hundreds of millions of dollars worth of real estate. And so real estate is the key to wealth. If you want to build wealth, if you put it this way, you can't really get wealthy in America if you don't either own real estate or own stocks or own some sort of a business. You have to have something that's going to grow and make money while you sleep. Do you support the Black Achievement Fund, Mr. Tucker? I don't know about the Black Achievement Fund. I've never heard of it. There's a group in Louisville, Kentucky called Black Achievers. And last year, my wife and I gave them $20,000 to fund their banquet. I'm going to give them more money in the future. But also we support we try to channel our money to a limited number of projects so we can really have an impact. So the other place that we gave money to was King Randall, who's a 23-year-old kid, actually built a school. A lot of people are talking about building schools and it should take a decade to do and $10 billion. King Randall is 23 years old. He just turned 23 and he literally built an entire school called the Life Prep Academy for Boys down in Albany, Georgia. And he also had the X for Boys, which is another organization he was running. And he's such a great young guy. And I went down and supported a couple of his events. We wrote him a check. I'm going to write him another check because I support what he's doing. And I just really hope that we don't find excuses not to support young people that are really trying to do the right thing. And he's just getting it done. He's building where he stands. He's not doing any grand gestures of trying to just, talk about it for 8 years. Everybody does that. There's so many people on the internet that just do a lot of talking and ain't really getting anything done. But we like them because they sound good when they're on YouTube. But there's a difference between those people and the people that are actually building things that you can sink your teeth into. So King Randall is very impressive. Yes, Shamika, he's extremely impressive. He's been on my platform. I supported him because I saw Roland Martin kind of beating up on him because he was getting some support from people on both sides of the aisle. He was getting support from Democrats and from Republicans. And I guess Roland was beating up on him because he wasn't supporting some Democratic initiative down in Georgia. And I just said, this is the silliest thing in the world, to have I felt embarrassed. I said, gosh, a 50-something-year-old black man should not be beating up on a 23-year-old trying to do the right thing just because you're not in the same political party. I just thought that was the weirdest thing in the world. And it made me very, very sad. And that was why I reached out and said, I called this kid up and I said, come on my platform and I'm going to write you a check just to show you that I don't care what your politics is. I don't care what politics are. I don't care what party you vote for. I'm not here to be some sort of gangster for the Democratic Party or some thug for the Republican Party. I'm here to just support Black initiatives that are going to help our kids get what they need, help them get what they need. See, a lot of us get stuff caught up in this political stuff. And really, at the end of the day, I want to ask you all a basic question. I want everybody to answer this question. Give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no. I asked this on the panel today at the Power Networking Conference, which I'm down at in Houston right now. I was moderating the panel. I asked him a basic question. I said, there's a brother named Tony Jackson. And I asked Tony this question on the panel. I said, Tony, do you believe, and he gave a great answer, by the way. He agreed with me. He understood where I was coming from. I said, do you believe that with all the racism in America and all the challenges in America, do you believe that a hardworking, educated, disciplined Black man can become wealthy and successful in America? Yes or no? Do you believe, give me a yes or no. Do y'all believe that? Do you believe that a Black man or Black woman, I mean, again, with all the politics and everything, do you believe that if they make the right choices, if they pick up a book instead of a blunt, if they're hustling instead of sitting on the couch all day, if they are working their butts off every day and making good choices every day, if they're saving and investing instead of spending and blowing their money, do you believe that that Black person in a racist, horrible country like America can become wealthy and successful and happy and prosperous? Yes or no? Everybody answer. I see a lot of yeses. And to me, that's all you need to know. To me, that's it. That's the answer. I'm not saying that the politics are irrelevant. I'm not saying that the Democrats or the Republicans are our buddies. They're showing you that they're not. They're showing you they ain't gonna give you nothing. They're showing you they don't have your back. Why are you waiting for them to have your back? They've let you know very clearly they don't like you. So now what are you gonna do? Keep begging them to like you? Keep waiting for them to like you? Or are you gonna learn to love yourself enough to do the things you need to do to be successful? We have every single thing we need to allow any person in our community that wants to be rich and successful to get there. Your ancestors had a different experience. You had Black men and Black women that did the right thing, that worked extremely hard, that saved and invested their money, that read every book, that were not given opportunities just because they were Black, or weren't given opportunities because they were slaves, or weren't given opportunities because of the law. But ain't no law out here that I know of that says that you can't get up and pick up a book and read that book and get the knowledge in that book. I don't know a law anywhere in America. You tell me about a law. If there's a law that will go protest that law. I've never seen a law anywhere that says that when you get that extra money, you can put it in your savings account or your investment account and not go spend it down at Walmart, Target, or the liquor store, or wherever you spend your money. So my point is to say, what are you waiting for? There's no law saying that a Black man is not allowed to take care of his children and love his children. So that most of the challenges that you are witnessing are psychological challenges. Most of the challenges you're witnessing are the result of bad, and I dare say alien or racist culture. And you've internalized that. So let's stop the crap. Let's stop it. I mean, I don't want to sit around all day and complain about what Joe Biden did and what Donald Trump's gonna do and all this other stuff when you ain't even doing what you got to do. You're not even doing what you got to do. So I just think that it's silly. The whole conversation at this point. If you answer that basic fundamental question, can a Black man or Black woman who works hard, educates himself, saves and invests their money, can that person become wealthy in America? If the answer to that question is yes, and that's all you need, you're not going to get white people's permission to be prosperous. You're not going to get their approval. They're not going to clap for you. They're like the way they would clap for you if you were gay, or clap for you if you're a feminist. They're not going to do that. They're not going to ever clap. You have to clap for you. So that's simple. It's very, very simple. Stop making it complicated, people. Stop making it complicated. Now, some of you mentioned that the convention, the link to the convention, you can't find it on the website. I didn't look at the website, but what I'll do is I'll add it I have to double check the entire site, but what I'm going to do is go ahead and just put it up here at the top. And the All Black National Convention, or if you go to allblacknationalconvention.com, you can find it there too. But it should also be on my website too. And I believe it's there, but I don't have the time to look for it. So what I'm actually going to do is just make it easy. It's right there at the very top now. So if you'd like to go ahead and get your passes for the convention, or if you'd like to be a vendor at the convention, lots of vendors show up every year to sell their goods. Lots of people are there to buy black. There's plenty of opportunities to do that. So just go to boycewatkins.com or allblacknationalconvention.com. You should be able to find it up there. Okay, so let me look here and find more of your questions here. So give me a second. And by the way, if you're listening outside the Zoom, if you want me to see your questions, just join the book club. It's totally free. If you go to blackkeystogreatness.com, that's blackkeystogreatness.com, you can actually come inside the Zoom, and that's where I'll see your question. Right now, I'm only answering questions to people that are inside the Zoom, inside the chat, but I am letting people outside kind of listen in if you want to listen in and enjoy the conversation. All right, so let me see. What's the next question here? Karen says, can I obtain my real estate license through the Black Business School? What we actually have is we have a program in the Black Business School. If you email support@theblackbusinessschool.com, the support team, that's support@theblackbusinessschool.com, they can guide you to a real estate program that was taught by a group of real estate agents. And they were showing people how to become real estate agents, how to get your license, all that, all the steps to get there. We don't have the official ability to grant you your license, but we do have people there that were training people to get prepared to get their license. So the answer is yes and no, I guess. I guess that's a good way to answer that question. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right. Next question is Alicia. I like that name. Alicia Walker says, is Robinhood just as good as Acorns for the $5 a day, or Wealthfront for the same through IRA? Yep. Any app works. All the app has to be able to do is allow you to make consistent deposits on a weekly basis. That's it. Just remember the pathway to wealth, the road to wealth is straightforward. It's simple. It's not, there's no whites only sign on that road unless you put one up, you put one there. And literally, it's that straightforward. It's something that's so simple. And I dare say it this way, but I don't want to offend anybody when I say it this way. But, even a monkey can do it. And I say monkey, not because I'm trying to be racial, but because they actually did an experiment with monkeys where they taught monkeys how to invest. And they found that the monkeys were able to be taught to invest by throwing darts at a wall. And they also found that when the monkeys invested, they were able to make as much money as the experts on Wall Street. And the reason is because of something called the efficient markets hypothesis, which is an old theory that was supported by a lot of people, including Burton Malkiel in his book, A Random Walk Down Wall Street in 1971, where literally because of the efficient markets hypothesis, you don't necessarily need to know anything about stocks in order to buy stocks and do so successfully. All you have to do is make sure you avoid taking bad advice from your friends. But literally, if you just randomly went into the stock market every week and just bought different stocks every time, you literally would have you'd have far more wealth than someone who sat on the sidelines. The biggest mistake people make when it comes to investing is to be too scared to invest, because you miss everything. You miss all the upturns. Right now, if you're watching the stock market, you see a lot of money being made right this moment. And a lot of people aren't getting any of that money right now. Like literally the market, go look, the stock market's been on a roar the last week and a half. I hope you guys are investing. If you're not investing, please do that, because the stock market's been on a roar. They're making money. I'm making money by going to sleep. I go to sleep and I wake up and I have another few $1,000s in my account. Like, it's that easy to make money when you're just consistently investing. And why is that? Well, because you got to be positioned to benefit from the upturn. You have to be ready to benefit. So people that were consistently buying when the markets were going down, those are the people that own those assets when the prices start going up. That's how people make money from gentrification. They didn't go buy property in the hood when the value went up. They didn't buy after the gentrification took place. That's for the suckers. That's for the people that want to live in the fancy condos and pay $1 million each for a condo in a neighborhood where 20 years ago you could buy a $10,000 house. Hey, literally, think about this. You have people buying $1 million condos now in neighborhoods where just 2 decades ago those houses were going for $5,000 or $10,000 and nobody wanted them. The people that build the wealth in this country are the people who buy when it's cheap. The people that show up late after everything gets expensive, those are the people that end up losing money. So, what stocks are there to buy now? Well, my favorite stock of the week was actually Amazon. In the stock market class, those of you that are in the stock market class, I put a list of stocks in there for you guys every single week. So, if you want to try the stock market program, you can do a free trial for a free month. Just go to boycewatkins.com and the link should be on my website. Let's see. Wayne says, Dr. Watkins, is there anyone or any organizations out there who are dealing with or leasing land in the South for farming? That I do not know, Wayne. I'm sorry if anybody is in the chat and feel free to share some information, but I don't know anybody that's doing that. Jan says, Dr. Boyce, in the Understanding Stock Market Terms lecture, you discussed the future value of an annuity calculator. Let's see here. Then to do an equation, you were teaching to change your mind. Oh, yeah. So the future value annuity calculation, you can find one at calculatorsoup.com. Yep. So future value of an annuity basically shows you how much your money is going to be worth if you invest it consistently at a certain interest rate. Kelvin says, what is King Randall's donation information? If you look up the X for Boys, I think it's called the X for Boys. Let me see. If I type in the X for Boys in Google, yeah, there we go. The x4boys.org, THE, the X for Boys, and that's the letter X, the x4boys.org. There's a donate button right at the top of the page. So you can feel free to leave a donation for King Randall at thexforboys.com. Somebody please type that in the chat for anybody that missed it the first 3 times I said it. All right, let's see. If the majority of people living paycheck to paycheck outside of investments, do you have any other ideas to strive in the economy? Yeah, I would say that in the beginning, you might have to crawl before you walk. So crawling before you walk means that, everybody has a little bit of extra money. Almost everybody, not every. I'm not saying that everybody's rich. I'm not saying that everybody's got it easy. We know a lot of us have it hard. A lot of us started off having it hard. And so, when I had it hard, when I didn't have any money, I tried to gain the resources that didn't cost me any money. Knowledge really doesn't cost you a whole lot of money. If even if you start at the beginning, you don't have any money to even pay someone to teach you things. There are still places you can go to get knowledge for free until you get a little bit of money where you can actually pay to learn. And I paid a lot of money for education, all that stuff. I was in debt like everybody else, all that stuff. And so I would start there by getting the things that are free, which is the knowledge. The average millionaire spends 20 hours a month studying how to get wealthy. So the question is, how much are you behaving like a millionaire? So if you're spending 30, 45 minutes a day just looking for different ways to make money, understanding things, even without making any moves yet, then you're going to be ahead of a lot of people, because a lot of people don't make money because they just don't know where to go get it. They don't know how it works. They don't know, again, it's like if I was trying to be a great basketball player, but I refuse to go into if I refuse to go onto the basketball court, then I'm never going to be a good basketball player. Okay. So by the way, if you have a question, put it in the Q&A section inside the Zoom, and I'll see your question. Anybody who's outside the Zoom that wants to come in, just go to blackkeystogreatness.com. You can join the book club for free, and I can see your question. All right. So Diane Parker says, Dr. Watkins, do you have a team of young men and women working with Dr. Anderson on this curriculum project for the Black Business School, the one he mentioned as a starter to your new Black Business School program? No, I do not. We have a team, but it's not a massive team. And the thing about a team is that it takes time to sort of build teams. It's really, really hard. I don't talk about it that much because I don't dwell in the negativity or anything, but it's really, really hard sometimes to bring in people that are not part of the team, because it just you have to vet people. The people I've worked with for years, because some of you, if you follow the internet, you've seen times where we've worked with people and it didn't work out, and the person then gets mad because they wanted some money from us or something, and they'll say, oh, Dr. Boyce is a terrible person, when really it's because we had a business negotiation and they wanted us to give them something we could not give them. We're like, look, I know you want more money, but we can't give it to you because we don't have those resources, and then next thing they get mad and whatever, and it just becomes like a complete shit show, because there's a lot of, unfortunately, as great as our community can be, there's also some toxicity and a lot of pain that can come out of that, where people get triggered and get mad, and and I just don't respond to it. Just so you know, I don't acknowledge it. I'm not going to pay attention to it, especially if I know that we did right by you or we had to part ways with you, So there was like one person that was screaming for years, Dr. Boyce is bad. He's a terrible person. And we built that whole person's career. We put $100,000 in that person's pocket and that person was behaving in such a toxic way that we just parted ways. I just said, "You're fired. You're out of here. Just go. I don't care what you tell the world." And so then when they go and they tell any story, and people will believe any crazy thing you say about a black man, so they'll go and scream and holler about it. And all I can do is just ignore. You can't fight every crazy person on the planet or every idiot. You just have to keep going forward with your mission. So long story short, that's part of the reason why you don't see me able. I build some teams, but I have to build them very carefully and very slowly, because what we're doing here, in my view, is very sacred. It's very important in terms of what the impact that it's having. I would guarantee you, I don't think there's anywhere else on the internet where people are doing what we're doing. I don't think, I mean, I haven't seen anything out there that's doing what we're doing on the level that we're doing it, right? And so to me, that means you have to protect it. And sometimes protecting it means not just protecting it from the racists that are out there. It might mean protecting it from some of the black people that are into maybe jealous competition or just have the wrong energy. So long story short, I keep it real tight. I don't, you're not going to really see me just sort of out here, mixing it up with just anybody, because not everybody understands what we're trying to do. But I believe in it deeply. I know that it works. It's based on scientific research. When I talk to you guys about what it takes to become wealthy or a millionaire and all this other, this is easy to do. It's very simple stuff. What the hard part is confronting toxic culture. The hard part is it's like losing weight. It's easy to lose weight, actually, if you do exactly what you're supposed to do. There's almost no overweight person who doesn't have a serious medical condition where if they simply got up every day and spent 30 minutes doing what a trainer told them to do and ate what a trainer told them to eat, there's almost no person that wouldn't start losing weight. There's nobody. If a trainer says, okay, 30 minutes a day, I want you to run until you sweat, and then I want you to eat these vegetables, eat this specific food, the person's going to lose weight. It's not complicated. What's complicated is dealing with all of the bad habits the person may have, and all of the brainwashing and the conscious and subconscious reasons that the person chooses to overeat, or why the person doesn't follow through on the promises that they make to themselves, dealing with the lack of discipline that may be embedded in their culture, dealing with the habit that they have of picking up a bag of Doritos every time they sit down and watch TV. I know this as a person who went through that journey of losing weight. I always knew what I needed to do to lose weight. I didn't have to take a class to learn that, but it was doing it that was the hard part, right? So what we're trying to do really as a community is we're trying to shift culture. So if you ever wonder why I might repeat myself, sometimes I repeat myself a lot. I say things, if y'all who've been listening to me a lot, sometimes I'll repeat stuff just because I need you to hear it over and over. I need you to hear it 18 times, 20 times a month, because I want it to sink in, and once it sinks in, you're off to the moon. Okay. So I want you to win. I want to help you succeed. So there's my 2 cents on that. Jan Jasmine says, it seemed like I did the calculations wrong, or maybe the calculator wasn't the right one. No, I think the calculator soup one is good. If you look up future value and annuity calculator, they're all over the place. There should be one if you log in at the blackstockmarketprogram.com. There should be one inside that program. Will Dr. Wesley Muhammad or anybody be from the NOI be at the ABNC? Asked Ryan. Yeah, I believe the team secured Riza Islam. I want to say Nuri Muhammad or Akila Nihanda. I can't remember everybody exactly, but I love the Nation of Islam, and I think the Nation of Islam, as far as how they deal with blackness, the structures of the way they view family and working together and building things. I think that's a great template to pay attention to in terms of what the community could do if we do our best. Reginald says, okay, so Reginald, I see you have a question about the Black Business School. If anybody has a question about the Black Business School or your membership, just write this email down. It's support@theblackbusinessschool.com. That's support@theblackbusinessschool.com. Don't forget that THE. Support@theblackbusinessschool.com. We have a whole support team that's waiting right there to answer your emails. They can answer any message, any question you have about your membership or anything like that. We want to take good care of you, make sure you're happy. Kevin, how do we get rid of the continuous meritorious manumission and Willie Lynch teachings applied to our people right now? I think some accountability is called for, and I do a little bit of that. Sometimes I'll call something out that I don't like, but at the same time, I don't think you're going to get rid of all of it. I think sometimes instead of stopping someone from doing something you don't like, I think that the best response is to do more of what you do like. So sometimes I don't really know if you can stop every every person in the community that isn't trying to do the right thing. What you can do though is you can do more of the right thing. If I just have, then that's honestly that's a little secret. That's one of the ways I deal with, even when I see when I see maybe a critic or someone who doesn't like what I'm doing or doesn't like me or something like that. Well, I just do more me. I do more me because I believe in what I'm doing. I believe in what we're doing. I believe in this mission. And so to me, it's like, if you talk about that negative thing one time, I'm going to talk about the positive thing 475 times. Right. And so the positive will drown out the negative. It's just like, if you have a McDonald's and you're trying to get people to eat more McDonald's hamburgers, you could do a commercial and say, don't eat at Wendy's. Wendy's is bad. Don't eat at Burger King. Burger King's bad. But McDonald's doesn't do that. McDonald's just runs more McDonald's commercials, right? Because they know that it's a battle. Like, okay, we need to take up brain space that Burger King might be taking. So there's a competition, but it's more parallel as opposed to conflicting. You don't have to conflict with every idea you disagree with. You don't have to fight with every trifling Negro. You ain't got to fight with those relatives who don't get it. Don't fight with them. Just go and kick ass and take names and succeed. And then they're going to be watching you. They're going to notice you because your energy will be so strong. It's like, I compare it to the sun. The sun doesn't compete with the planets. The sun's not competing with other suns. The sun's not competing with anything else in the solar system. All the sun does is it shines brighter and has more luminous power than any other object inside the solar system. As a result of the sun's massive power, all the other objects revolve around the sun. Not because they made an agreement or the sun talked them into it or the sun beat them up and forced them into submission per se. The sun just shined. And because the power, the energy of the sun, because of the sun's power on various levels, everybody's just responding to what the sun's doing. So what I would say is, in your family, just go be the sun. Just go shine. Just go be great. Succeed. Win. Do your best. Give 100%. Show up with a lot of energy. And eventually what you'll see is that people will just naturally gravitate towards you. They will naturally follow you. They will naturally respond to you. Sometimes they may talk bad about you, right? But they're good. But even when they're talking bad about you, they're still honoring you. You got to understand that. See, the worst thing people can do is not talk about you at all. But when they're talking about you, they're honoring you. They're honoring your power. They're not honoring you by saying, I like you. They're honoring you by saying, damn, you're there and I can't act like you're not. I must acknowledge you. I must respect what's happening here. Right. So if the Chicago Bulls are playing the LA Lakers, they don't like each other. They're not going to clap for each other when they score a basket. They're going to play hard defense. They're going to prepare. Right. And that's still a type of respect. They're acknowledging each other by saying, man, if we don't prepare, the Lakers are going to kick our butt. So ultimately, that's what it is. I don't look for anybody to just sit around and just say how much they like me. And I appreciate those of you who do. It's nice. I appreciate that. But even my enemies honor me as much as my friends do, because we are here. We are doing this. And you must show up at the table with all your energy and all your ducks in a row, ready to kick butt and take names, so that even people that hate your guts say, damn, here they come again. Here he comes. You got it? I hope that makes sense. Okay. Let's see. All right, next question. Let's see. When Ice Cube presented his platinum platform to Trump when he was president, was it Trump or our politicians that turned it down? Ice Cube did not present the platinum platform. As you know, I worked with Ice Cube very closely during his political thing. I remember him going on CNN. We talked right before he went on CNN. We talked about, we kind of strategized on some points he can make on the show. And then after the show, he called me and we were talking a little bit more. And we talked a lot. And one of the things I can tell you from the bottom of my heart is that Ice Cube was really trying to do the right thing. And I wouldn't have sat around and talked to him if I didn't feel that way. I remember I had conversations with other people and I wasn't as convinced. I talked to Kanye West. I like him. I think he's trying in his own way, but I feel like Kanye's still a little bit, it's like something about being like in this celebrity space, and all these white people are giving you money and whatever, and they'll pay you money to act like an idiot. I'm not saying Kanye's an idiot, but sometimes he acts like an idiot. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Sometimes he's a genius, sometimes he's a weirdo, and I don't really care about any of that, because I can strip away from all that. I see where that's coming from. I see what that is, and I see why that gives you confidence, because men naturally gain confidence when they're making money, no matter what they're making money for. So some comedian who calls himself the N-word or acts like a buffoon and makes $10 million doing it, will feel like he's a successful black person, because people who don't understand how this so-called success is manufactured by corporate America, they think it's a big deal. It ain't a big deal. It's all it means is that your adversary will always pay you to act like an ass. I'm not saying Kanye's an ass. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that in general, a black person making money doesn't impress me at all. I'm going to ask, how did you make your money? Remember, it's like your daughter. If your daughter comes home and says that the boys in football team, they're all giving her $20 a week, the first question you need to ask is, well, how did you get that money? What did you do to get that money from the whole entire boys football team? Because if she's sleeping with everybody on the football team, that's not a sign of success and respect. So, when we talk about money, a lot of people make that mistake of thinking that being focused on financial success means being obsessed with money and believing that money is the be all end all. Money over everything. If I have money, then I'm successful. Money, 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 money. No, you got to ask, how am I getting my money? Because your enemy will always pay you money to do things that are to your detriment or to the detriment of the people that you care about. And so, I don't blame people for getting their money. I think money's important. Money does matter. But when I talked to Kanye, first thing he told me, literally, we talked 2 minutes, and he told me he was worth $4 billion. I didn't care. I don't care. So what? Big deal. How does that benefit black people? What does that mean for black people? But then one thing he did do that I really liked was he tweeted a picture of Dr. Claude Anderson's book right there on the phone, and I appreciated that, and that's why I appreciate him. That's why the good outweighs the bad. But in terms of having the ability to even focus long enough to really get something done, I don't think that was there yet. I think that sometimes that celebrity space distracts you so much that it's like you think you can snap your fingers and everything's going to change. And unless you're snapping your fingers and delegating to the right people, nothing is going to change. And also I really encourage everybody to stop getting all pumped up about these celebrities who talk about themselves like they're walking gods. Like, I'm the greatest of everything. I'm the most important, whatever. No, you're not. Stop that. Your community is more important than you. And you must bow to that. You must honor the community before you start honoring yourself. And so I didn't honestly get a lot from talking to Kanye. It was kind of like wow, my kids thought that was cool that he called, but it wasn't a big deal. When I talked to Ice Cube, I felt like I was talking to a true ally who truly understands what we're trying to do. I felt like I was talking to a person who understood how to play your position. I felt like he understood that as a celebrity, I have a big platform. My job is to be fearless with my platform, to walk away from all the temptations that come with being a celebrity, where they pay you money to dumb yourself down or walk away from your community. And I also felt that he understood that there's a point where you pass the ball to people in the community that don't have the spotlight you have. So when Ice Cube made his contract with Black America, which I encourage everybody to take a look at, the first thing that impressed the hell out of me was that he went and he recruited scholars and thinkers to give him the best ideas to put on this contract, so that he could then do his job, which is to promote it. I thought that was brilliant. And every celebrity can do that. All of them can do it. But unfortunately, when you just get out here in this weird world, they just completely forget about Black people, at least in an authentic way. It becomes very superficial, very silly. Just understand, with all the money and the power and the access and resources that they have, if they sat down with a team of smart people and just gave them access to the platform and their connections, you could raise 10, 20, 30 billion dollars in a couple of weeks for the Black community, and build a whole chain of Black owned schools. If you wanted to, you could build thousands of Black owned businesses, but nobody's encouraged to think that way, because our smartest people are oppressed by culture. You have anti-intellectual culture. So you have a lot of people that get promoted heavily who are just not that smart, who are not trying to be smart, who are trying to be as ignorant as possible. Well, why would you do that? Well, because that's how you get the bag sometimes. I don't think the white man will ever pay you for being your absolute best. He will never pay you for competing against him. He will never pay you to win, in the competition of minds. He'll only pay you to entertain. And that's what your job is. So let me keep going. Alicia says, my son, Kal-El, is 11 years old, is asking this question. Did anyone actually go to the moon? If it's true, how much money would it cost? Great question. I'm gonna tell you, I'm not a conspiracy theorist about going to the moon, but I like that question because it gets me off that train of thought I was on before. Because y'all know me, I could go on that forever. But I don't know. What confuses me about the moon is I don't understand how there was something that you did in 1968 that you can't do in 2022. And that's weird. That makes no sense to me. I get it. People are like, yeah, we don't invest in NASA and they, but it was 1968. They you have more computer technology in your phone that they had in the entire rocket ships that they were sending to the moon. I don't get it. I admit I don't understand it. So when people say that they faked the moon landing, I don't think it's impossible. The government's faked all kinds of stuff. So stop acting like they wouldn't do it. I'm not saying they did. I'm saying that it doesn't make sense. If you ask somebody in 1968, well, what will you be doing by the year 2022? They say, oh, we'll be living on Mars. We'll have colonies on Mars by 2022. We can't even get back to the moon. We can't even do in 2022 what they did in 1968. They're like, oh, we'll be in the moon in the year by the year 2030 or the year 2025. It's going to take that long, really? So I don't know. That was a great question. And I don't know. Anything's possible. Okay, so Nasia says the platinum vendor ticket comes with only one VIP ticket, but I would like to bring my business partner. Can she have a ticket? Nasia, yeah. Well, how about this? I can get you a discounted ticket. So why don't you email support@theblackbusinessschool.com and tell them that I said to give you a ticket. And what I might try to do is actually see if I can pull up a discount code that you can use for anybody that wants to go ahead and get your convention tickets now. Since you're in the book club, I can give you guys a discount. So let me see if I can I'm a terrible multitasker. So if I start talking about weird stuff, just know it's because I'm trying to multitask and I'm doing it wrong. All right, yeah, I can't quite get inside right now. So so I'm gonna have to push this to the side. But what I'll do is I just want you guys to know that probably in the next week or so, we're gonna run another special on the tickets to the convention. So you don't have to buy your passes now. We'll give you a discount code within the next week or so. I can't open it up in the system right now for some reason. My computer's acting a little bit weird. So sorry for that. If it changes, I'll let you know. Let's see. Diana Parker says, I only ask because we are not promised Dr. Anderson and we don't want to miss gathering his extremely valuable knowledge. Yeah. Well, Dr. Anderson, I agree with you. And that's one of the reasons why I interviewed him so much. I interviewed Dr. Anderson a lot because Dr. Anderson is a national treasure. And I believe that, nobody's going to live forever. Him, you, me, none of us. So I believe in recording things. That's why I talk a lot online, because who knows, maybe in the future, maybe some of my ideas will be beneficial to young people. So I try to visualize in my head when I'm talking to you. I visualize some kid in the year 2070 watching like one of my videos or something and getting inspired from something that I said back in the year 2022. And so I think that you have to have that kind of thinking to really prepare your community for the future. So whatever you're doing, I want you to think about legacy. I want you to think about preparation for the future. I want you to think about doing what you need to do in order to leave something for future generations. And it does make a difference. My wife bought her first house because her great grandfather bought a like one of those old U.S. savings bonds back in 1945, right after World War II. And because he bought this bond in 1945, his great granddaughter was able to buy a house in the year 2008. And the other thing was, and also in her family, there was an apartment building they bought. Her great grandfather bought in the South Side of Chicago in the 1930s and 1940s, back when the South Side of Chicago was a really super nice area to live. It's still very nice in some parts, but some parts are better than others. And literally, they bought this building, and to this day, his great granddaughter or something like that is living in the building rent free and making an income from owning the building. She does not have to work because of what her great grandfather did back in 1945 or 1940, 1938, whatever the year was. So what I really want you to think about is realize that you are the ancestors. You are the ones that are leaving a legacy, whether you leave one or not. And what you leave or don't leave is going to impact your children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren in a significant way. You got to make that plan now. You have to plant those seeds now. Let's see. Sharon says, I'm a 60-year-old woman and basically just started saving for retirement. Do you have any suggestions besides 401k? Yeah, Sharon, I think 60 is tough because you're trying to do in 5 years what, really is a 40-year process, 40-year process. So, what I would say is that you might have to do a retirement kind of in pieces. I can give an example. My parents, when they retired, they got Social Security. They had, a pension. They had some investments, but they also had their kids, and their kids stepped in. They also had each other. And so when people talk about things like marriage and children, or how you raise your kids, or investing in keeping your marriage together, that is a survival strategy. I know a lot of people make fun of people in other communities, other countries. They'll say, "Oh, they're old fashioned. That's why she stayed with her husband, even though he was a dirty dog, or that's he was a simp. That's why he stayed with his wife for all those years when he could have been a player." But you don't understand that in countries where they're not as rich as the United States, staying married is the difference between survival and complete desperation, or prosperity and economic failure. I have a friend in Botswana whose family is worth millions of dollars, and she said family is the most important part of our wealth building process. She said, I don't understand how African Americans even think they can begin to build wealth when they can't even keep family together, because every generation you're starting with nothing. And everybody thinks that dating and relationships are all about how good the sex is and who you have the most fun with and all that. She said, no, we get married and we stay married because your family is your protection. That's your institution. So when you have no family and you have nobody, then it's very difficult to do things. So I would almost say that retirement, it's starting that late. At 60, it has to be very creative. It means you definitely have to work beyond retirement. So maybe finding a part-time job, or a job that you can handle as you get older, is a requirement, because you don't have to quit working just because you hit a certain age. In fact, they recommend that you actually remain active after retirement. When you stop working and you just sit there, you're gonna die soon. That's what all the studies say. Just look it up. So if you are retired, don't just sit around. Find things to do. You don't have to work as hard as you used to, but do something to keep yourself active. Give yourself a sense of purpose. Also, people that don't have any purpose. The time where I had my midlife crisis, where I was the most depressed, was actually when I was the most successful. I was about 40 something years old. I had achieved all my goals. I looked at my life from the time I was 22 and thought about all the goals I had for myself back then. I literally had them written down. I still have those papers where I wrote down what I wanted to do in the next 25 years. I accomplished every single goal that I had for myself. I didn't make the amount of money I wanted to make. I made 100 times more than that, 50 times more, some ridiculous. I didn't I got the education I wanted to get. I married the woman that I wanted, the kind of woman I wanted to marry. My wife in my mind was the woman of my dreams. Like there was nobody that was better in my mind. And so I was sitting there and I was thinking, this is a weird place to be, because I don't have to get up anymore. I don't have to, before I would get up and I had a reason. I had a goal. Like I get up because I was hustling. I was trying to become somebody, or I was trying to finish my degree. I was trying to go make some money. I was trying to succeed. And I realized I didn't have any of that stuff I needed to do anymore. I was like, God, I'm, kind of being, the so-called good side of being whatever I am is, you ain't got to prove nothing to nobody. I proved a lot, right? So I realized that I was very depressed at that point, because I had no sense of purpose. There was no reason to get out of bed. So I'm like, what am I going to do? Is lay in the bed all day to eat Cheetos? Like, that's not going to make me a better person. So I had to find new goals and objectives that were going to keep me mobile, keep me productive, keep me moving. So I encourage everybody, when you retire, don't just sit around. Just move to the next phase of your life. Don't work yourself into the ground either, though, but find something that's going to give you a goal, a sense of purpose. People that have a sense of purpose and a reason for doing things, they just function better. That's also, I think that's part of the reason why when we get a certain age, we get a job, and then we get married and we start having kids, because the kids always give you something to do. Everybody that has kids knows what I'm talking about. There's always, you ask a parent, like, what have you been up to? Oh, run around with these kids and going to work every day, right? That's because you need that sense of purpose. If somebody took away the kids and took away the job and gave you $10 million, that's when people start getting into silly stuff. They start getting into drugs and whatever, because there's nothing to do except sit around and pleasure seek all day. You're using drugs, having sex, eating banana splits, going on vacation all the time. But eventually all that wears off, right? It's no longer like this sort of relief from your stressful life. It becomes like your way of life. And I can tell you, if you're doing all that stuff and leisure all the time, it eventually just wears away on your soul. So find something productive to do. I would maybe say that you definitely have to save and invest at a higher rate if you're saving for retirement later. I think that if you do have kids, hopefully your kids will step up. I step up for my mom all the time. My mother's on my payroll. I wanted my family to benefit from whatever I was doing. And so that's why when you're raising your kids are also part of your retirement plan. So for those guys or anybody that's neglecting your kids, just know you're neglecting yourself, because when you get 70, 80 years old and you need somebody, the kids are the ones who step up and come through for you. And so just keep that in mind as you're making your life investments. Let's see here. Next question is Nasia says, my son is 15. He lost his dad at 10. Oh, I'm so sorry. I've had him listening to you for years. He even sent in a sports video a few years ago for Fine New Being Queen. Do you mentor teens? Well, I would say that if he's listening here, Nasia, to keep bringing him, keep having him listen. He's 15. He's almost a man now. And so there's a lot of young people that listen. I love it when young people listen. I love it when they say, you're like a stepdad or an Uncle Boyce or an adopted father. Like, I embrace all of that, because I think that in our community, what you got to understand is that you're kind of you're living in the ashes of what your community was supposed to be. You're dealing with the aftermath of things like mass incarceration and the war on drugs and all these other political activities that were done deliberately to dismantle and destroy the Black family, and to send Black men to prison and to ruin Black men. Give me a yes in the chat if you've heard me ever sort of break this down and explain. They took $1 trillion in Black wealth from you when they destroyed your families, like at least $1 trillion, probably 2, 3, 4, $5 trillion. Because think about this: when you're struggling constantly, when you're barely getting by, you don't have time to sit around and talk about investing and building wealth. You can't think about owning real estate when you're barely trying to pay the rent. You can't go out and start businesses and network with other people if you are so traumatized from your upbringing that your whole life is just filled with all kinds of chaotic dysfunction. Your sister's on crack, your brother's in jail, your other brother's trying to kill you, your other sibling don't talk to you. Like, that's kind of what happens in so many of our families. Like, that's crazy. And a lot of that, when you dig to the root of that, I bet you that 9 times out of 10, the word drugs pops up somewhere. The word drugs pops up somewhere. It might not be you. It might be somebody you love, somebody you needed to come through for you, couldn't come through for you because they were off getting high. Or somebody that you needed to come through for you couldn't come through for you because they were traumatized and messed up in the head because their parent was getting high. Right? Like, this is just chaotic. It's crazy. And so we have to be very intentional about sort of rising the phoenix from the ashes, cleaning up the tornado, and really structuring our families and our existence in a way that's going to allow us to get back to becoming a fraction of what we were supposed to be. America owes you a big check for that. They owe you a big apology. They're not going to give you a check. They're not going to give you an apology, not for a long time. And so we have to at least focus on the rebuilding. But we can't forget that. We can't forget that because they're trying to sprinkle those drugs right back in your community. They got your rappers who are your most influential people in the community. They could be rapping about anything. They could be rapping and making kids read. They could be rapping and making kids build wealth. They could be rapping and making kids eat healthy. But instead, they are literally rapping and getting your kids to want to get high and drunk and on drugs at 18 and smoke so much corporate made weed, which has been heavily, heavily tampered with, to the point where they are addicted to dope at an early age and can't be functional for nobody. Do you understand in my own life how many relatives I've had to cut off because they were messing with all that dope? Like, I don't even know what to do with you now. Like, every time I talk to you, you get triggered and go crazy because now your chemical imbalance in your brain is off. You can't even have a structured conversation anymore because all you can think about is getting high and drunk. Anytime you're picking up the weed in one hand and the Henny in the other. And I'm up here trying to fight a war and trying to build. You can't build nothing because all you're thinking about is the dope. You are a slave. You are a damn slave. You are a slave to those drugs, and or you're a slave to the fried chicken, or you're a slave to something silly. And so you can't ever fight for freedom because you're not even free yourself. So I've had to cut in my own family. I've had to cut off relatives. My own father, my own biological father, could not be a father to me because he was getting locked up and in and out of jail over drugs. Other people in my family, I'm not gonna say their name because they might be listening. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. But some of the I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with a drug addict other than to send you to rehab. It's like we're playing in a basketball game and you're injured. You're showing up to the NBA finals with a broken leg. All I can do is wheel your broken ass over to the sideline so that the real players can get in the game and try to win this damn thing without you on the court. So I'm not making fun of people that are in that category. What I'm saying is that I advocate strongly for a zero tolerance policy when it comes to drugs. I believe that any rapper who is promoting drug addiction or drug abuse in the black community should be dealt with on it in an extreme way, whatever that means. I don't know what that means. I'm not saying go beat them up or kill them or nothing like that, but I am saying that killing their career would totally be okay with me. Now, by the way, it looks like I froze. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. I know you probably can't see me right now because I was frozen for a second. Can you hear me and see me okay? All right, okay, good. All right, so give me a yes in the chat so I know I'm coming through all right. All right, so let's keep going. Okay, and then by the way, I'm still trying to open up the system for the convention thing, and I can try to get you some sort of discount code. If I can't get you one, just make sure you get on the email list. If you go pick up an e-copy of that book, the $5 a day investing plan, you'll actually get on the email list, and I will send out the discount for the convention that way. And actually, wait a minute, I think I might actually be able to open this up. Okay, so in case you don't know, the convention is going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina, October 28th through the 30th, and you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com in order to join us. Okay, all right. So let me see. Next question here. Next question is Tara says, I'm not sure if you saw my question, but did you see the young lady pose nude at FAMU? Yeah, I did see that, and you know what? I have to be careful when I answer questions like that because I'm getting older, and when you say stuff that is anti, like that's not like trendy, that's not where you're not going along with stuff that's trendy. People just start saying, "Oh, you're old. That's why you don't understand." I personally think that older people should be listened to at any age because they understand things that you don't know, and so with that being said, I was sad by the picture. I thought it looked trashy as hell. I hate the idea that we think that that is some sort of liberation for women. I've never seen a woman get more respect because she was imitating the behavior of strippers. I just haven't. I don't see that. I'm not saying that you don't have a right to be a stripper or to do whatever you want to do. I don't tell nobody what to do. But to behave in a degrading way, to degrade yourself, and then say I need you to respect me. I, at the very least, I'm the guy who says, well, that's not logical. That makes no sense. That's like me getting on my knees and then saying, I need you to look up to me. Well, how you gonna look up to me when I just got down on my knees? You're supposed to be looking down on me. That means because I made myself small. I've shortened myself, and I think that what is interesting, where I'm probably not on the political bus with a lot of people, is that as a father of daughters, I think that we are hurting our daughters by not explaining to them that there are many, many ways for you to be a truly empowered human being in this society. They go beyond just showing your vagina to any man that walks on the street, or or also being hyper masculine. Like now they're promoting these images in movies and stuff of the women becoming men, and I think that because they're trying to defy gender and all this other stuff, and so now with the Black Panther and stuff, I was a little bit concerned because I said, well, there's no black males hardly in your trailer, and everything is like about women fighting in swords and spears and guns and all that. And I know women can fight, like we know women can do things, but that is thank you, Ryan. Ryan says, he says that's inappropriate behavior. They will always pay black people to act like buffoons. They will always pay black people to go along with whatever narrative they have about you and how they view you. And so what I would argue, my theory on this is that because you've had this strong black woman image kind of building out of the absence of the black male, which was the result of mass incarceration, the war on drugs, Joe Biden policies, where he sent all the black men to prison, everything else. So a lot of black boys, the majority of black boys and black women don't have a father in the house. So unfortunately, a lot of the women grow up disliking men because the first man you ever loved disappointed you. So you look down on the men. You realize you can't trust the men, right? And then you have men who don't want to be men, because they hear their mother talk about how terrible men are and how men broke her heart and how men are bad and everything else. So next thing you know, you have this manless society. And if you look throughout history over thousands of years, when one group conquered another group, that's the first thing they did, is they want your masculine men out the door, because that masculine male is competition. I knew a lady who had a boyfriend that was not really as successful as her. He was trying, but she was the go getter. She was getting all the opportunities, and he really wasn't. He was an actor, and so she got this offer, this job offer to move across the country. Some rich Jewish guy said, "Hey, if you come and work for me, I'll give you control of the whole studio. I'll pay you 200,000 a year." It was an opportunity of a lifetime for her because I think at the time she was struggling to pay the rent. So she goes to the guy, and the guy says, "Hey, let's have a meeting." So she goes to meet with this guy, and she, without telling him, she brings her boyfriend. Right, because she's like, I want him to meet my boyfriend so that I can convince him that we can go run this studio together. Because having him by my side, I can do an even better job, or whatever. He had no interest. You're probably not surprised by this. That man had zero interest in meeting her boyfriend. He literally immediately rescinded the job offer. He's like, no, this offer was for you. It ain't for him. I need you. I want you, but I need you to leave him back wherever he came from. Because and really what's going on there, in my view, is that he's competition. He's not going to pay the competition to come and work for him, and he was paying her because he wanted to be close to her, not because not that she wasn't skilled. She was, but there was another dynamic happening there that she became more aware of once she kind of saw how this man reacted when she said, "I want to get my boyfriend involved also." So ultimately, I believe this is what happens in corporate America. I believe this is part of the reason why a black male, a straight black male, is never going to get the same opportunities in corporate America as a black woman will get or as a gay black man will get. It's nothing against any of those groups, but it means that for straight black men, you have to have one important thing inside of your bones in your body that will help you survive. As a straight black man, you cannot afford to go into this world and not be absolutely ready to be competitive with other men. You cannot come in be imitating the behaviors of women and children because they're not going to respect you. They're going to laugh at you. They're going to think that you're weak. And so as me as a straight black man, if I'm running around constantly talking about why I can't get nothing done because the white man is doing this to me and doing that to me, I can't take care of my woman because the white man won't let me, I can't take care of my kids because he ain't giving me enough money to do it, then I'm not seen as a man anymore by anyone. I'm not seen as a man by my competition. I'm not seen as a man by my woman. I'm not seen as a man by my children. Because at the end of the day, a man has to have the ability to earn some sort of respect from somebody. Like my daddy did not, the daddy that raised me, not my biological father that was in prison for drugs. My daddy, he was the excuse maker, unfortunately. My daddy that raised me was a man where even when he didn't have a lot of money, he carried himself like a man. He carried himself like a boss. He carried himself like the head of a family. He carried himself as a leader. And I looked up to that. I saw him as a god because he just, even when he was weak and tired and all that, I just never saw it. I'm not saying that maybe that's toxic or something. I don't know. I'm sure some therapists would say that that's not appropriate behavior, but it worked. I liked it. I liked knowing that my daddy was the man. I don't know if anybody else had a daddy like that. If you had a daddy like that, God bless you. You were lucky because that really to me says that if the stuff really goes down and somebody's really trying to take what we got or hurt me or my sister or mess with our family, oh, daddy gonna go get him. Daddy got the strap upstairs. He's gonna pull out that gun. He's gonna fight to the end, and he might not win, but he's gonna die trying. I love that about my father. So I remember one time my mother and I and my sister were in the car and we were driving and we were in Louisville, Kentucky, where I grew up. And we were driving down the freeway. We were about to get off the freeway to go to our house. So we were about 5 miles from our house, though. And our car just broke down. So the car broke down on the freeway, but it was close enough to the exit that we could actually walk. But it was close. Like if you're in a car, it would take you maybe 2 minutes to get there. But on foot, you're talking about like a 20-minute walk, walking down the freeway, right? So the car breaks down because my parents ain't got no money. We pull over. We start walking down the freeway. So imagine that you got a black family, a mother, father, an 8-year-old boy, that's Boyce, that's me, and a 3-year-old girl holding hands walking down the side of the freeway. And I remember that, white people, and I don't think all white people are bad. I'm not, so if you're white, don't think I hate you. I don't have time to hate you. I love myself. That's a totally different thing. So, there were people that drove by and they felt bad for us. They were like, dang, this poor family's walking on the side of the road. So you know what they did? They did what was natural. They pulled over to say, hey, buddy, you need a ride? And I remember my father saying, no, we got it. And it's weird because when he said, "No, we got it," I got it. Like I got it instantly. I understood at 8 years old. I understood why my father didn't want to ride from that man. Two reasons. One, because you don't know who the person is. They could be a serial killer. But then number two, it was his pride. You know, like he was as a man, he's like, I'm going to solve this. I'm going to fix this. This is my family. I got it. Right. And again, I'm not saying this is the best way to handle everything. Maybe the best route might have been to get in the car and get the ride. I mean, you know, I'm not knocking that, but there was something about that that really, to me, exemplified who he was to us and how important that was to our family. He was in many ways like a spiritual, like a tent pole. Like if you think about a tent, the tallest tent pole is what holds the tent up. And if you take that tent pole away, the whole tent falls down and drops on everybody's head, or it's not tall enough for people to walk around inside the tent. And so to me, when you took away the father, you took away one of the tallest tent poles, and so the tent's falling on everybody's head, so you can't really enjoy your camping experience because the tent you're scrambling around trying to get the tent off your head, right? So the family without the dad, to me, is not the same family that you have with the dad. And I don't understand why people think that it's sexist for me to say that. It's actually more sexist for you to disagree with what I'm saying without hearing me out. Because there's no way on this earth I could ever convince any of you that you can have a family or a sturdy, solid family or a complete family without the mother. We know how important mama is. We know how important big mama is. We know the mother is the center of so many important things that happen in the household. So I don't understand where we forgot how important the father is in terms of being the center of many things that happen in the household. So you've basically gotten comfortable running a marathon with one leg. You think that because you can hop 24 miles that you don't need to have two legs. You can run a marathon with one leg, and then you wonder why you keep getting last place. Well, you keep getting last place because you're running against people that have two legs, and two legs are better than one. So two parents typically are better than one parent, even if one of those parents isn't quite perfect. Right. So that's my belief. That's my 2 cents. So I'm sticking to it. All right. So let me actually grab. I told you guys I was going to grab you a discount code. Actually, if you go to allblacknationalconvention.com and you use the code book club, you can get 30% off your tickets to the All Black National Convention. You can do that right now. So just go to allblacknationalconvention.com, or if you even go to boycewatkins.com, it's right there at the top of the screen, and just use that code book club at checkout, all one word, book club. You can get 30% off your tickets, and we will sell out. We sold hundreds of tickets in the first month that they were available right after the last convention because everybody has so much fun. I guarantee you're going to have an awesome time. You're going to love it. I'm really excited about doing the interview with the CEO, former CEO of the Air Jordan brand, Larry Miller. Larry's a good friend of mine, and I love this guy. And I like him because Larry didn't forget where he came from, and he was the guy that understood. He understands how to scale a business. You know, he took the Air Jordan brand. Think about this. I bought Air Jordans when I was like, or I got my first pair when I was 14. I saw them for the first time when I was about 12. And I'm not 12 years old anymore. I'm nowhere near 12 years old. But the idea that Michael Jordan's brand is still as relevant now as it was in 1983 and 84 is astonishing to me. And Larry Miller is the reason for that, in my opinion. He took that company from 300 million or so per year to 3 billion. He's coming to the convention. I'm going to do a fireside chat with him. Also, there's a billionaire, Mike Roberts, that's going to come down as well. But then we have a lot of other great people, activists and intelligent people like Reza Islam, people that understand crypto and business, people like Lene Javette, Julian Gordon, others, just so many great people there. So if you'd like to come, just go to boycewatkins.com or allblacknationalconvention.com. Use that code book club and you'll get 30% discount. All right, so let's see. Somebody asked, how did you perform in your race? Don't ask, because I don't do very well in my race. My rule with running is just don't stop running. Just keep running. Just keep running. Kareem says, will the event be live streamed for those who cannot make it? We're working to set up a live stream. That's not determined yet, though, because we have to have a certain type of film crew on the ground, and we haven't picked our film crew yet. So we're thinking about it. We're trying to decide if we're going to do that. Let's see. Rodney Ward, for every different brokerage account, do you need a different bank account? No, you do not. You can have one bank account that feeds all your different brokerage accounts. That's pretty easy to do. Shamika says, have you or anyone heard about the Christmas box baby? I don't know what the Christmas box baby is. Anybody heard about the Christmas box baby? I don't know what the Christmas box baby is. Sheila says, my son is now 12 and lost his father 2 years ago of an accident, and it does take a community of men to take care of the children, especially the young men. I am so sorry for you and your son. That just hurts my heart, and I'm so sorry for your husband. I mean, I'm y'all. Sorry, I slowed down talking because I feel it in my stomach and my chest right now. I'm so sorry. Whew. Okay, sorry. It's weird. My stomach just started turning when I just imagine what that poor little boy had to go through. I too have had him go through all of your courses, and he continues to follow you in the teaching of Claude Anderson. Thank you, and the community of strong men. Absolutely, Sheila. And give my best to your son and to your family. And I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. I'm so sorry. And I'm always going to be here for you as long as I can talk, and as long as I can, as long as I'm alive, I'm gonna be here. The Christmas box baby was a baby kidnapped from the Cook County Hospital. Really? When was that? Was that recently? I haven't heard anything about that. Community control of numbers, says Timothy Jones. Okay. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. Community control of numbers versus reparations. I don't know what community control of numbers is. I'm so sorry. I don't. That doesn't resonate with me. I apologize for not understanding that. Um, so anyway, I think we've had enough time to kind of do some Q&As. I went through all your questions. I'll be back now tomorrow. Actually, if you're in the stock options class, I'm going to have to move that time. So you're going to get an email from me tonight, moving the date. I'm not going to cancel. I'm just going to postpone because George Fraser needs me to step in. Tavis Smiley was going to host and moderate a panel, the town hall on Thursday night, and George asked me to fill in for Tavis because I guess Tavis isn't feeling well, and so I agreed to do that for him. So I can't do tomorrow night's class. However, I will schedule another date in the next 3 or 4 days, and then also, in fact, I'll do some extra things. And if you log in, you can actually find some stuff that I put in there for you guys. So I hope you all have a good night, and it was fun talking to you. And by the way, I don't know if you guys know, we the financial flashcards for kids. If you were thinking about getting some for your children or kids in the neighborhood, giving them away as Christmas gifts, we have a great discount. Let's see. Nasia says the code book club did not work. Um, Let me see. I'm looking here. Try capitalizing the B and the C. Maybe that'll work. Because I'm looking at it right now, and it seems to work okay. And what I'll try to do, in fact, is I'll even give you the direct link, so that way we can cut to the chase on that. So let me just copy the direct link into the chat, so you guys can just use it directly like that. Let me see here. All right, clicking on chat. Okay, everyone. All right, there you go. So try capitalizing the B and the C too. Let's see if that works. But there's the code. Let me know. Give me a yes if you see that in there. And so if you're thinking about coming to the convention, that code will always work. So go ahead and feel free to use that code. You can get 30% off anything that you want. Even if you want to be a vendor, it even works for vendor tickets. So feel free to use that code Book Club. Capitalize the B and capitalize the C. But yeah, what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, so the financial flashcards. So we're having like a sort of a 24-hour flash sale where they're about 31% off or something like that until midnight tonight. So if you'd like to take a look at the flashcards, just go to financialflashcards.com. That's financialflashcards.com. So those are a great tool that we developed to help you teach your kids about wealth and economics, and they work extremely well. And I really want to encourage you. It's very, very easy for you to put your family at a very high level. Remember, let's go back to that basic question I asked you in the beginning. I asked this on the panel today at the Power Networking Conference. I said, is it possible for a black man or black woman who works hard and is disciplined and educates themselves to become successful or wealthy, no matter how poor that they are in the beginning? Most of you answered yes. And I agree. The answer is yes. The answer is absolutely yes. It happens all the time. It's thousands and thousands of black people. Some of you in here, many of you in here, started off poor, and now you're doing extremely well. Now, so what I really want you to do is kind of start with that premise and understand that if you want your children ahead of everyone else's children, all you got to do is start them off early. If you start them off early, then they win. If you start them off late, then they're probably going to lose. So what I would encourage you to do is understand that things like the financial flashcards and stuff like that, or whatever tool you want to use, are just conversations about what money looks like, how you make your money, and shaping their values early is really what matters. I figured this out. This is something. See, I'm figuring things out every year. I know more about this now than I did 5 years ago. And I knew a lot 5 years ago, because even 5 years ago, I'd had my PhD for 15 years. So I knew a lot of stuff, but every day I'm figuring out stuff. And here's what I figured out about this wealth thing in the Black community. It ain't about the knowledge. It ain't about access to the knowledge. 40 years ago, maybe access to knowledge was a big deal because you had to spend money and go to college and all that stuff. Now you got a whole university in your cell phone. The greatest university in the history of the world is in your cell phone. So the knowledge is right there. It's available. So if the knowledge is readily available for anybody who wants it, why do some people have the knowledge and some people don't? Well, that is because of the culture. The culture shapes your value system. So if I am in a culture that does not value knowledge, then I'm not going to seek knowledge. It's like if I live in a culture that doesn't value health food and just thinks health food is nasty, you can put all the health food in the world in front of me. I'm going to walk right past the health food and look for the fried chicken and the cheeseburgers and the Doritos, because that's what I want, right? So ultimately, this is not a battle of access to knowledge and information. This is a battle, and it's not even, and even the battle of actually consuming the information is only part of it. It's really a battle of culture, which shapes values, because the culture you come from determines what type of information or what types of resources you're going to pursue. So if I raise a kid and I teach a kid that you want to eat kale and broccoli and health food and salad every day, and you want to be vegan no matter what, then that kid is going to do everything in his power to pass up everything he can pass up till he gets to the vegan food. Because he's going to feel like, I can't eat unless it's vegan. I can't eat unless it's salad. I can't eat unless it's a vegetable, right? So the same thing is true with economics. If you raise a kid and you just say to your child, pay attention now, this is important. This makes your job easy. Your job is easy. It's not a hard job. If you just say to your child, son, any Black man who wants to be free and successful needs to have his own business. Or you say to your daughter, baby, every Black woman should know how to make her own money, should know how to invest. Or you say to your kids, you gotta own real estate. Owning real estate's really important. And you say it over and 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 over again, to the point where at your funeral they say, well, what did Mama always say? Well, Mama always said you gotta have real estate and you gotta start a business. Mama used to always say that. If you do that, you don't even have to show them how to buy real estate. They're gonna go and find out how to do it. They're gonna get on their cell phone, how to invest in real estate. They're going to search for it on Google. They're going to watch 10 million videos. They're going to take a class, or they're going to go to college. They're going to say, well, what do you want to major in? Well, my mother always said that owning real estate was really important. So I think I want to study real estate investing, right? They're going to go and get the knowledge because you lit the fire. You did the important part of it. So the culture shapes the values. Your job is to light the fire. It's just to send them in a general direction in terms of what their value systems are, because that's going to shape the kind of knowledge that they pursue. They're not going to spend all their time learning how to twerk. They're going to spend, because that's what kids do. They give them a phone. They're like, how to twerk, how to drop it like Cardi B, right? They're learning all this crap from rappers because their value systems are gone. Their value systems are like, if I look like a rapper and I'm lit like a rapper, then I'm going to have a lot more friends or whatever. So that's why they're looking for that knowledge and that information. You can't hide knowledge and information of a certain variety from somebody who has been trained to want it no matter what. So if I really, really want, if I'm a teenager and I really, really want to have the nicest iPhone, then you can increase the price. You can put it in a hard, in a difficult to find neighborhood. You can, hide it in the store. That kid's going to go hunt it down because they need to have it. So you have to stoke the fire. You have to create the desire. You have to create the demand, and then your kids will do the rest. Your job will be easy. Just create the right culture. Don't even talk to your kids about jobs, in my opinion. I don't even talk to my kids about jobs. They'll figure that out. Some slave will come along and tell them how to go work for other people. That's fine. I'm kidding. If people that work for other people, I'm not making fun of that. But seriously, I don't need to tell them about all that. I talked to them about? I talked to them about things like being financially free, or I'll say to them, preparation is the key to success. That's my slogan in the household. Every time they fail, every time they mess up, I say, preparation is the key to success. Well, you know what I'm teaching them? I'm teaching them about investing. Because all investing is preparation. Investors don't make all their money now. Investors made all their money in the past. Every ounce of money that they're making right now came from a move they made in the past. So they dominate the present because they prepared for the present when they were living in the past. When the present used to be the future, They were preparing for the future because they said one day the future is going to be the present. So the question I must ask you right now today is 2028 is coming. It's going to be here. 6 years. Nobody's thinking about 2028. Ain't nobody checking for 2028. Everything's vacant. Opportunities are abundant in the year 2028 if you prepare for it in 2022. What are you doing right now in 2022 that will prepare you to be in a great position in the year 2028? 2022 is to 2028 what 2016 used to be for 2022. Were you preparing for 2022 back in 2016, or were you only thinking about 2016? A lot of us were just thinking about 2016. So what I'm saying to you is, if you want to get ahead of the curve, ahead of the game, all you do is you get to the spot first. You take your brain into the future and you think about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years down the line, and you start preparing now. And if you prepare now, then you will win. You start buying those shares of stock. That company, by 2028, the value has tripled, and suddenly you're the rich guy on the block, and everybody thinks you got lucky. So preparation is the key to success. Also, ownership is the key to power in America. You can never have power in America if you don't own something. So what I tell my kids also about financial assets is I say you got to own property. When I took them down to the rental property we bought in Atlanta, I said we bought this property because you must own assets if you want to be successful in this country. You must own real estate. You must own stocks. We talk about ownership, 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 ownership. That's what you do. So figure out what your core values are going to be. Maybe pick 3 things, 2 or 3 things that you really want to drill into them, and drill it repeatedly. Repetition is the key to leadership, right? And once you've repeated it to them 10,000 times, then guess what? When you get older, man, that's going to be your legacy. That when they're winning lifetime achievement awards at the age of 45, they're going to give speeches. Your old ass going to be sitting in the audience, barely hanging on. Maybe, who knows? You'll be old and wrinkled, looking back on the good old days, and they're gonna give you a tremendous amount of credit for being the person that introduced them to a way of thinking that opened the door for all the possibilities that exist in their life. So don't feel like you have to give your children the world. Just give them something more valuable than the material things. Give them that spiritual wherewithal. Give them the culture. Give them the value system that will allow them to value the right things as they go conquer the world. All right. So that's it. That's my 2 cents for today. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. It was fun talking to you. It was great answering your questions. I hope that I answered them thoroughly for you. And I will be back soon. And next week we're going to get started and jump right back into Powernomics. Those of you that are not in the book club, you can actually join by visiting blackkeystogreatness.com or just boycewatkins.com. There should be a link on my website also. And I will see you guys later. So please have a good night, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.